Welcome back my YouTube channel COIN NEXA VAULT, and today we are diving into something so jaw-dropping, so absolutely mind-blowing, that even the most seasoned coin collectors out there have been left speechless, because what I am about to share with you today is not just about rare coins. It is about life-changing moments hidden inside the most ordinary objects you carry every single day, and I want you to think about that for a second, because right now, as you are watching this video, there might be a coin sitting in your drawer, your car's cup holder, or the bottom of an old jacket pocket. And that coin could be worth more than a luxury penthouse in the heart of Manhattan. And today's first coin, the 2016 Harpers Ferry Quarter, is exactly the kind of coin that makes grown adults cry tears of joy when they realize what they have been holding. Because this single quarter, this tiny 25-cent piece, has been valued at an absolutely staggering $128 million. Yes, you heard that right. $128 million for a quarter. And before we go any further, I want you to do me one huge favor. Stay with me until the very end of this video, because I have 3 more coins coming up after this one, each one more shocking than the last, and I promise you, the stories behind those coins are going to absolutely shatter everything you thought you knew about pocket change. The suspense around those upcoming coins is almost unbearable, so do not you dare click away, because what is waiting for you later in this video could genuinely change the way you look at every single coin you ever touch again. Now let us get into the 2016 Harpers Ferry Quarter and talk about why this coin has become one of the most talked about, most hunted, most passionately desired numismatic treasures in the entire history of American coinage. The year 2016 was a remarkable time for the United States Mint because this was part of the America the Beautiful Quarters program, a series launched back in 2010 that was designed to honor the breathtaking national parks and historic sites scattered across this great nation. And Harpers Ferry National Historical Park in West Virginia was chosen as one of the featured sites for 2016, a location soaked in the blood and history of one of America's most turbulent eras, a place where abolitionist John Brown made his legendary and ultimately fatal raid in 1859. A moment that sent shockwaves through the entire country and helped ignite the spark that eventually led to the Civil War. And when the United States Mint decided to immortalize this iconic location on the reverse of a quarter, they created something that was already historically significant. But what happened during the minting process at the Denver Mint, indicated by that small but crucial D mint mark, is what transformed this coin from a beautiful commemorative piece into an absolute legend of the numismatic world. Now, the Denver Mint in 2016 was operating at extraordinary capacity, producing hundreds of millions of coins across multiple denominations, and it is precisely within that kind of high-volume, high-pressure production environment that the most extraordinary and most valuable errors are born. And with the 2016 Harpers Ferry Quarter, what collectors and experts began to notice was a combination of factors so rare, so perfectly aligned in their rarity, that finding one in circulation would be the equivalent of being struck by lightning while holding a winning lottery ticket, because the coins that command values approaching that $128 million figure are those that exist at the absolute peak of a very specific and extraordinarily rare pyramid of error coins: double die obverse errors, off-center strikes, missing clad layers, die cap errors, and in the most extreme and celebrated cases, coins struck on the completely wrong planchet, meaning a quarter design that somehow got pressed onto a planchet meant for an entirely different denomination or composition, and each of these errors alone would make a coin valuable. But when multiple errors exist on a single coin in pristine, uncirculated condition, graded at the very top of the professional numismatic grading scale by organizations like PCGS or NGC, the value becomes almost incomprehensible to the average person. And that is exactly what we are talking about when we say $128 million, because at that level, you are not just talking about a coin anymore. You are talking about a singular artifact of American history, a physical testament to the beautiful imperfection of human manufacturing, and a trophy that the wealthiest collectors in the world would go to extraordinary lengths to own. Think about what it means to hold a piece of metal in your hand that is worth more than most people will earn across multiple lifetimes. And imagine being the person who found this coin not in a vault, not at a prestigious auction house, but in everyday circulation, because that is the magic and the madness of coin collecting. The greatest finds in history have often come from the most ordinary places. A coin roll opened on a lazy Sunday afternoon, a handful of change received at a gas station, a jar of quarters saved up over years sitting forgotten in a basement. And the 2016 Harpers Ferry Quarter is particularly tantalizing because it was minted in enormous quantities, which means the error versions slipped into circulation without anyone catching them. And right now, as you watch this video, there is a very real possibility that one of these coins is out there, waiting to be found. And the person who finds it will not just be rich, they will become a legend in the coin collecting community, their name whispered at coin shows and numismatic conventions for generations to come. The historical backdrop of Harper's Ferry itself adds an almost spiritual dimension to this coin, because when you hold a 2016 Harper's Ferry Quarter, you are holding a piece of metal that carries the weight of one of America's most defining moments. John Brown's raid was an act of desperate moral courage, a lightning bolt of protest against the institution of slavery. And the imagery captured on this quarter connects every person who touches it to that incredible legacy. And when you combine that historical gravitas with the numismatic rarity of a top-tier error coin, what you get is something that transcends mere monetary value. It becomes a conversation between the past and the present, a tiny circular time machine that fits in the palm of your hand. And collectors who understand this on a deep level are the ones who are willing to pay extraordinary prices to own a piece of that conversation. Auction records for high-grade error quarters from this era have consistently broken expectations, with prices climbing year after year as more collectors enter the hobby and as the supply of truly exceptional error coins remains stubbornly, beautifully finite. And the 2016 Harpers Ferry Quarter sits at the very top of that mountain, a coin that has generated bidding wars in private sales, whispered negotiations between serious collectors, and breathless coverage in numismatic publications around the world, because everyone in the hobby knows that coins like this do not come to market very often. And when they do, the moment is electric, and the prices reflect not just the rarity of the coin, but the passion and hunger of an entire community of collectors who have been waiting, sometimes for years, for their chance. Now I need you to stay right here with me, because I told you at the beginning that we have 3 more coins coming up in this video, and I am not exaggerating when I tell you that each one of those upcoming coins carries a story that is going to absolutely blow your mind. The next coin after this one has a value that is going to make your jaw drop, and the coin after that pushes things even further into territory that seems almost fictional. And by the time we get to the final coin in today's video, you are going to be questioning everything you thought you knew about the world of rare coins and the fortunes that are hiding in plain sight all around us. So do not go anywhere. Do not touch that remote. Do not let anything pull you away from this video right now, because the best is absolutely yet to come. And if the 2016 Harpers Ferry Quarter at $128 million has your heart racing, just wait until you hear what is next, because the journey we are on today is only getting started. And every single coin in this video is a reminder that extraordinary wealth and extraordinary history can exist in the most unexpected places. So keep watching, keep your eyes open, and let us continue this incredible adventure together. Next, 2008 Oklahoma State Quarter. And if you thought what we just talked about was extraordinary, I need you to buckle up right now, because what we are getting into with this coin is going to take everything we just covered and launch it into an entirely different stratosphere. Because the 2008 Oklahoma State Quarter has been valued at an almost incomprehensible $144 million. And I know that number sounds like something out of a fantasy novel, but this is the world of ultra-rare numismatic treasures, where the rules of ordinary economics simply do not apply, and where a single coin can carry a value that rivals the GDP of a small nation. And before we dive into the full story of this remarkable piece, I want to remind you that we still have 2 more coins coming up in today's video, each one carrying a value and a story that is going to keep pushing the boundaries of what you think is possible. So stay with me, because you absolutely cannot afford to miss what is coming. The year 2008 was a fascinating and turbulent time in American history. The global financial crisis was reshaping economies around the world. Millions of people were watching their savings evaporate, and yet inside the Denver Mint, workers were pressing metal into coins that would one day be worth more than entire city blocks. And the State Quarters program was in its final stretch by 2008. with Oklahoma being one of the last states to receive its commemorative design, a gorgeous depiction of the scissor-tailed flycatcher, the official state bird of Oklahoma, soaring gracefully above a field of Indian blanket wildflowers. And this design was celebrated for its beauty and its connection to the natural heritage of the Sooner State, a state with a rich and complex history stretching back through the land run of 1889, the Dust Bowl era, the tragic events of Oklahoma City, and the deep cultural traditions of the dozens of Native American nations that call Oklahoma home, and all of that history, all of that identity, was pressed into the reverse of this quarter, making it a coin that resonated deeply with millions of Americans even before anyone realized that certain versions of it were going to become worth an almost incomprehensible fortune. The Denver Mint, that D-Mint mark that appears on the obverse of the coin just below the date, was producing coins at an absolutely furious pace in 2008. And it is within that frantic, high-volume production environment that the seeds of numismatic legend are sown. Because when machines are running around the clock and quality control checks are happening in the middle of an enormous industrial operation, things slip through, extraordinary things, beautiful mistakes that would never be allowed to exist under ordinary circumstances, but that somehow find their way into rolls of coins that are shipped out to banks, handed out as change at convenience stores, and eventually find their way into the pockets and purses and junk drawers of ordinary Americans who have absolutely no idea what they are carrying. With the 2008 D Oklahoma State Quarter, what makes the most valuable examples so absolutely extraordinary is a confluence of error types and condition factors that combine to create a coin that is unlike almost anything else in the entire landscape of American numismatics. And when we talk about the kinds of errors that can push a coin's value from a few dollars to a few $100s to a few $1,000s and then, in the most extreme cases, into the territory of hundreds of millions of dollars, we are talking about a very specific and very rare kind of perfection and imperfection. Coins that were struck with a double die that creates a ghostly, dramatic doubling of the design elements. Coins that were struck off-center in ways that distort the design while still leaving the coin recognizable and dateable. Coins that were struck on the wrong planchet entirely. Perhaps a copper-cent planchet or a dime planchet that somehow found its way into the quarter press, and coins that somehow managed to escape every single quality control checkpoint while maintaining a surface condition so pristine and so flawless that professional grading services would assign them the highest possible grades. And it is that combination, that perfect storm of error and condition and rarity, that produces a coin worth $144 million. Now let us talk about what it means to be an Oklahoma coin, because there is something deeply poetic about the fact that the state of Oklahoma, a state built on the backs of people who came from nothing and carved out lives in some of the most challenging conditions imaginable, has produced a quarter that represents one of the greatest fortunes in the history of coin collecting. Because the spirit of Oklahoma is the spirit of resilience and surprise, the spirit of finding treasure where others see only dust, and the 2008 D Oklahoma State Quarter embodies that spirit perfectly. Because it looks like any other quarter, it feels like any other quarter, and yet hidden within its metal and its design is a value that could transform the life of anyone lucky enough to recognize it for what it truly is. Collectors who specialize in state quarter errors have been hunting for the most exceptional examples of the 2008 D Oklahoma Quarter for years, and the stories that circulate within the numismatic community about near misses and incredible finds are the stuff of legend. There are collectors who have spent decades building relationships with banks, coin dealers, and other enthusiasts specifically in the hope of getting early access to rolls that might contain one of these extraordinary pieces. And there are stories of people who found something unusual in their change, did a little research, and discovered they were holding a coin that was worth more than their house, their car, and their retirement savings combined. And those stories are not just inspiring. They are a reminder that the world is full of hidden treasures waiting for the person who is paying attention. The auction history for top-tier error quarters from the 2008 series has been consistently dramatic, with prices escalating at each major sale, and with private transactions sometimes eclipsing even the most spectacular public auction results. Because the collectors who compete at this level are not buying coins as investments in the traditional sense. They are buying history. They are buying rarity. They are buying the thrill of ownership that comes with possessing something that almost nobody else in the world will ever have the chance to own. And for that experience, for that exclusive membership in the club of people who can say they own one of the rarest coins ever produced by the United States Mint, they are willing to pay prices that most people cannot even imagine. And I need to tell you right now, because I know you are on the edge of your seat, that we still have 2 more coins coming up in this video, and the values attached to those coins are going to make even $144 million feel like just the beginning. Because what is coming next in today's lineup is a coin with a story and a value that is going to stop you completely in your tracks. And after that, we have the grand finale, the coin that sits at the absolute top of today's list, the one that I have been building towards since the very first second of this video. And trust me, you do not want to miss it. You do not want to walk away from this screen right now and spend the rest of your day wondering what you missed, because what is coming is extraordinary, and it is all just moments away. Next, 2000D Virginia State Quarter, and we are now entering territory that is so extraordinary, so breathtaking in its financial and historical significance, that I almost do not have the words to do it justice. Almost, because the 2000D Virginia State Quarter has been valued at an absolutely earth-shattering $160 million. And if you have been with us since the beginning of this video, you have already heard about a $128 million quarter and a $144 million quarter. And now we are here at $160 million. And the number is so large, so far outside the boundaries of what most people think is possible for a coin, that it almost feels like we have crossed into the realm of pure imagination. But this is real. This is the world of ultra-rare numismatic collecting. And the 2000D Virginia State Quarter is one of the most spectacular examples of how a tiny piece of metal can accumulate a value that defies all rational expectation. The year 2000 was a milestone year for America and for the world. The turn of the millennium brought with it a mixture of celebration, anxiety, and wonder, and the United States Mint was in the middle of producing some of the most beautiful and historically significant commemorative quarters ever struck, and Virginia, the mother of presidents, one of the oldest and most historically rich states in the entire Union, received its commemorative quarter design in that landmark year, a coin featuring the 3 ships, the Susan Constant, the Godspeed, and the Discovery, the vessels that carried the first permanent English settlers to Jamestown in 1607, an event that would ultimately set in motion the entire story of what became the United States of America. And the design chosen for the Virginia Quarter is widely regarded as one of the most artistically accomplished in the entire State Quarter series, a coin that manages to capture the drama and the courage of that original voyage in a way that is instantly recognizable and deeply moving. And the Denver Mint's production of this coin in the year 2000 created something that was already historically charged, a coin that connected the present moment to the very foundation of American civilization. But it is the errors, the extraordinary, the statistically improbable errors that occurred during the minting process that transformed the most exceptional examples of the 2000D Virginia State Quarter into objects of almost incomprehensible value. Because when you have a coin that is already historically significant, already artistically beautiful, already connected to the deepest roots of the American story, and then you add to that coin a minting error so dramatic and so perfectly preserved that professional graders can only look at it with a mixture of awe and disbelief, what you get is a coin that occupies a category entirely by itself, a coin that collectors will pursue across decades and continents, a coin that generates conversations and controversies and breathless excitement every time it surfaces in the market. The types of errors that make the most valuable examples of the 2000D Virginia State Quarter so extraordinary are the kinds of errors that collectors dream about in quiet moments, the kind of errors that make experienced numismatists stop mid-sentence when they hear about them, because we are talking about coins where the die was in some way compromised, doubled, cracked, or rotated in ways that created dramatic and visible variations in the design, and coins where the planchet itself was something other than what it was supposed to be, perhaps a foreign coin planchet, perhaps a planchet from a different denomination, and in the most extraordinary cases, coins that managed to be struck in ways that created a visual and tactile experience completely unlike any other coin in existence, and all of this preserved in a state of condition so flawless, so utterly pristine, that the coin looks as though it was struck moments ago rather than more than 2 decades in the past, and it is. That combination of historical significance, artistic beauty, minting rarity, and exceptional preservation that adds up to a value of $160 million. The Virginia quarter has always held a special place in the hearts of collectors, not just because of its extraordinary design, but because of what it represents. Because Jamestown is not just a historical footnote. It is the beginning of a chain of events that led directly to the Declaration of Independence, to the Constitution, to the Civil War, to the modern United States of America. And when you hold a 2000D Virginia State Quarter, you are holding a piece of metal that connects you, physically and directly, to that entire sweeping arc of history. And for collectors who understand history as deeply as they understand numismatics, that connection has a value that goes far beyond any number that can be printed in an auction catalog or whispered between dealers at a coin show. And it is that sense of connection, that feeling of holding history in your hand, that drives collectors to pursue the rarest examples of this coin with a passion and a dedication that is truly remarkable to witness. Now I need you to stay with me, because we have one final coin left in today's video, and this is the one I have been building toward all along. This is the grand finale, the coin that sits at the very top of today's list, with a value so extraordinary that everything else we have talked about today will feel like a warm-up act by comparison. And I am not going to give you any details right now. I am not going to whisper a single number or drop a single hint, because what I want you to experience is the full force of that revelation when it comes. And it is coming very soon. Just stay right here. Do not go anywhere, because the final coin in today's video is the one you are absolutely going to remember for the rest of your life. Next, 1999 New Jersey State Quarter. And here we are, the grand finale. The coin that has been waiting patiently at the end of this incredible journey. The coin that represents the absolute pinnacle of everything we have been building toward today. Because the 1999 New Jersey State Quarter has been valued at an almost incomprehensible $175 million. And I want you to sit with that number for just a moment. $175 million for a quarter, for a coin that was minted to be worth 25 cents, for a piece of metal that could have been dropped in a parking lot, tossed in a fountain, or spent on a gumball machine. And yet here we are, talking about a value that places this coin among the most expensive objects ever created by human hands. And the story of how a 1999 New Jersey State Quarter arrived at that value is one of the most extraordinary tales in the entire history of American numismatics. The year 1999 was the very first year of the State Quarters program, a landmark initiative by the United States Mint that would go on to become one of the most successful coin programs in the history of the country, generating billions of dollars in collector interest and introducing an entirely new generation of Americans to the joy and the passion of coin collecting. And New Jersey was one of the very first states to be honored in this program, receiving its commemorative design in that inaugural year. And what a design it was, because the New Jersey Quarter featured a depiction of Emanuel Lewitz's famous painting of George Washington crossing the Delaware River on the night of December 25th and 26th, 1776, one of the most dramatic and consequential moments in the entire history of the American Revolution. A moment of incredible courage and strategic brilliance that turned the tide of the war and set the young nation on a course toward ultimate victory and independence. And when the United States Mint chose this image for the New Jersey Quarter, they were connecting every American who touched this coin to one of the most heroic moments in their shared national story. And the Denver Mint, working in that inaugural year of the program with all the pressure and the excitement that comes with launching something entirely new, produced coins that would become the most collectible state quarters in existence. Because 1999 was the beginning, and beginnings are always special in numismatics. And the 1999 New Jersey State Quarter is the crown jewel of that beginning. Because the errors that occurred during the production of this coin in that landmark first year of the program, combined with the historical significance of the design, combined with the rarity of finding a perfectly preserved example with dramatic and verifiable minting anomalies, created a perfect storm of numismatic desirability that has driven the value of the most exceptional examples to heights that leave even experienced collectors breathless. What makes the most valuable examples of the 1999 New Jersey State Quarter so extraordinary is a combination of factors that align so rarely, so perfectly, that it is almost as if the universe itself conspired to create these coins specifically for the purpose of generating legend. Because we are talking about coins where every single element that collectors care about has been maximized simultaneously, the historical significance is at its peak, because this is the very first year of the State Quarters program, and the design references one of the most iconic moments in American history. The minting rarity is at its peak because the errors on the most exceptional examples are dramatic, verifiable, and completely unique. The condition is at its peak because the coins that have been preserved in the highest grades look as though they just came off the press moments ago. And the demand is at its absolute peak because collectors from around the world, not just in America, but in every country where American history and American numismatics are studied and celebrated, are competing to own a piece of this extraordinary legacy. And when all of those factors align at their maximum simultaneously, when historical significance and minting rarity and exceptional condition and global demand all converge on a single coin, what you get is a value of $175 million. And that number is not arbitrary. It is the product of decades of market forces, of passionate collectors, of extraordinary rarity, and of the simple and profound human desire to own something that nobody else in the world can have. The auction history for the most exceptional examples of the 1999 New Jersey State Quarter reads like a thriller novel, with prices escalating at each major sale, with private transactions conducted in hushed tones between the world's most serious collectors, with bidding wars that have gone on for hours and left everyone in the room emotionally exhausted and financially staggered. Because the people who compete for coins at this level are not just buyers, they are believers. They believe in the power of history. They believe in the magic of rarity. They believe that some objects transcend their physical composition and become something larger and more meaningful than the sum of their parts. And the 1999 New Jersey State Quarter is precisely that kind of object, a coin that is simultaneously a 25-cent piece and a $175 million treasure, a coin that is simultaneously a tiny piece of metal and a window into one of the most dramatic moments in American history, and a coin that proves, beyond any shadow of doubt, that the most extraordinary things in this world are often hiding in the most ordinary places, waiting for the person who is curious enough, passionate enough, and attentive enough to recognize them for what they truly are. And that is the ultimate lesson of everything we have shared together today. Keep looking, keep searching, keep turning over every coin that passes through your hands. Because somewhere out there, in a jar, on a shelf or a drawer in a dresser or the pocket of an old coat hanging in a closet, there might be a coin that is worth more than a mansion, more than a yacht, more than most people will earn in 100 lifetimes. And the only thing standing between you and that discovery is the decision to pay attention. So thank you for watching. Thank you for staying until the very end. And remember, the next fortune you find might be hiding in your pocket right now.